I took the night shift at the gas station because I needed the money, and because everyone told me the same thing. Nothing ever happens out there. They were right. Until the night it did. The station sat alone on a stretch of county highway, where cell service dropped to 1 bar, and the road disappeared into trees in both directions. No houses nearby, no streetlights, just asphalt forest and the constant buzz of fluorescent lights overhead. I worked from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., 6 nights a week. Most nights followed the same rhythm. A couple of truckers before midnight, 1 or 2 drunks after the bars closed. Then nothing but silence, broken only by the click of the pump cycling and the hum of the refrigerators. That silence can mess with your head. By 1 a.m., the building feels too big. By 3 a.m., it feels like the world outside has stopped existing. And by 4 a.m., your thoughts start sounding louder than they should. That's when it started. 1:17 a.m. The first strange thing wasn't a person. It was the pumps. I was mopping the floor behind the counter when I heard it. The unmistakable click whir of pump 3 activating. I looked up. No car. The display outside lit up anyway. Numbers started rolling. Gallons. Dollars. Slow and steady. Like someone was fueling an invisible vehicle. I frowned, grabbed the remote, and shut it off. The numbers froze. The pump stopped. I told myself it was a glitch. Old equipment does weird things at night. I went back to mopping. 30 seconds later, pump 3 turned back on. Same thing. No car, no headlights, just the pump running alone in the dark. This time, I walked to the front windows and pressed my forehead to the glass. Nothing. The trees beyond the lot swayed slightly in the breeze. The road was empty in both directions. I shut it off again, and this time, it stayed quiet. For a while, 1:43 a.m. The bell above the door chimed. I jumped, harder than I should have. A man stepped inside, mid-40s, maybe older. Dark jacket zipped all the way up despite the heat inside. Baseball cap pulled low, hands empty. He didn't grab a drink, didn't look at the snacks. He just stood there a few feet past the entrance, staring at me. "Hey," I said, forcing my voice steady. "What can I—" "You work alone?" he asked. The question landed wrong. "Yeah," I said carefully. "Nights are slow." He nodded like he already knew that. His eyes drifted. Not to the register, but to the hallway behind the counter, the door that led to the bathroom and storage room. "You lock that?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "Company policy." He smiled. Not wide, not friendly. Just enough to show teeth. "Smart," he said. "Most places don't." He turned around and walked out. Didn't buy a thing. I stood there longer than I meant to, staring at the door long after it closed. 2:06 a.m. Pump 3 turned on again. This time, Pump 4 joined it. I shut them both down. My hands were shaking now. I checked the security cameras. Parking lot feed, side lot feed, rear alley, nothing. No cars, no people. Just pumps running themselves dry in the middle of nowhere. 2:31 a.m. A car rolled into the lot. Headlights off. It parked in the far corner, out of view from the counter unless I leaned sideways. The engine stayed running. I watched it on the camera. The driver didn't get out. 10 minutes passed. 15. I picked up the phone, pretending to scroll, but my eyes never left the screen. The car's interior light flicked on. Someone leaned forward. Then the light shut off again. Still no movement. 2:58 a.m. The door chimed. The same man came back inside. This time, he smelled like gasoline. "Pumps acting funny tonight," he said casually. My stomach dropped. Yeah, I said. "Old system." He leaned on the counter, close enough that I could see his eyes clearly now. They were bloodshot, wide, alert in a way that made my skin crawl. "You ever notice," he said slowly, How quiet it gets out here after 2. I didn't answer. Feels like the world forgets places like this, he continued, like nobody would hear anything if it happened. I reached under the counter and wrapped my fingers around the panic button. He noticed. His smile widened. I'm just making conversation, he said. Relax. He grabbed a bottle of water, placed it on the counter, and paid in exact change. As he turned to leave, he paused. Oh, he said, if you hear the pumps again, don't go outside. Then he left. 3:14 a.m. Pump 3 turned on, then pump 4, then pump 2. All at once. I didn't shut them off. I watched the cameras instead. The car in the corner of the lot had moved. It was closer now, facing the building. 3:22 a.m. Someone knocked on the bathroom door. I froze. The bathroom was behind the counter, and I hadn't unlocked it for anyone. The knock came again. Slow. Deliberate. I didn't move. A third knock. Then a voice. You said it was locked, the man said, softly. You lied. The handle rattled. Once. Twice. Then silence. 3:04 a.m. The power flickered. Lights dimmed. Then surged back. The pumps outside all shut off at once. The sudden silence was worse. On the camera, I saw movement near the dumpsters. 2 figures, not one. They stood there talking, too far away to hear. One of them pointed toward the building. 3:51 a.m. The phone rang. I nearly screamed. Caller ID showed. Unknown, I answered, breathing. That's all I heard. Slow. Close, like the phone was right next to someone's mouth. Then a whisper. You locked the wrong door. The line went dead. 4:03 a.m. The back door alarm chirped. Someone tried the handle. I bolted for the storage room and locked myself inside. The lights in the store went out. Emergency lights kicked on, bathing everything in red. Through the crack under the door, I saw shadows move. Footsteps. Slow. Unhurried. Like they knew I wasn't going anywhere. 4:17 a.m. Something scraped against the metal door. Once. Twice. A voice spoke, calm and amused. You can stay in there, the man said. We're patient. Another voice laughed, higher pitched, closer than it should have been. 4:32 a.m. Police sirens. Distant at first, then closer. The scraping stopped. Footsteps ran. An engine roared to life. When the officers arrived, they found the pumps running. All of them. Fuel spilling onto the concrete. But the lot was empty. No cars. No people. Just tire marks leading into the trees. I quit the next morning. The station shut down a month later. Sometimes when I drive past it during the day, the pumps are still lit up, running, even though there's no power and no one left to turn them off. I worked the overnight shift at a small roadside hotel, the kind of place people ended up when they didn't have many choices left. It wasn't part of a chain. No bright lobby, no security guard, just a front desk, a pot of burnt coffee, and a building that never fully went quiet. The hotel had 3 floors and a little over 30 rooms. At night, the automatic doors locked and guests had to use their key cards or buzz the desk. Once the doors locked, I was alone in the building with whoever was already inside. I'd been working there long enough to know the normal sounds. The elevator cables humming, the pipes clicking when someone used hot water, footsteps echoing through the hallways long after the person was gone. You learn which sounds mean nothing and which ones don't. The night everything changed started quietly. A man came in asking for a room. He was alone, middle-aged, dressed plainly, carrying a small duffel bag. He spoke softly and didn't make much eye contact. Nothing about him stood out at first. He asked for one night. I checked him in, took his payment, and handed him a key card. I assigned him room 307, a room at the end of the top floor hallway. When I told him the room number, he hesitated. Is that one usually occupied? He asked. No, I said. "It's pretty quiet." He nodded slowly, like he was confirming something to himself, then turned and walked toward the elevator. After that, the hotel felt different. Not loud, not obviously wrong, just heavier. I noticed the elevator moving when no one was in the lobby. The doors would open on floors without anyone stepping in or out. I told myself it was old equipment. The building had issues. Then the phone rang behind the desk. I answered it the way I always did. No one spoke. I could hear breathing on the other end. Slow, controlled, close to the receiver. I asked if anyone was there. The line went dead. When I checked the call log, the call had come from inside the hotel, from room 307. I stared at the screen longer than I meant to. Later, a guest from the room below 307 came down to complain. She said someone was pacing back and forth above her. She said it had been going on for a long time and hadn't stopped once. I apologized and told her I'd look into it. When I pulled up the camera for the top floor hallway, I saw nothing. The hallway was empty. No doors opening, no shadows passing by. But when I turned the volume up, I heard it. Footsteps, slow, even, repetitive, back and forth. They never paused. I decided to go upstairs. I told myself I just needed to knock, ask him to keep it down, and that would be the end of it. I took the master key and rode the elevator to the top floor. The hallway was empty when I stepped out. The lights flickered faintly, casting long shadows against the walls. The carpet smelled old, like it had absorbed too many nights. As I walked toward the end of the hall, the footsteps stopped. Complete silence. Room 307's door was closed. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again. Still nothing. I leaned closer, my ear inches from the door. I could hear someone breathing, not moving, not shifting, just breathing, slow and deliberate. On the other side of the door, I announced myself, told him there had been a noise complaint. After a moment, a voice came from inside. Soft, calm. I wasn't walking. My stomach dropped. "I can hear you," the voice added. I stepped back without responding and walked away. I didn't use the elevator. I took the stairs down, my heart pounding harder with every step. After that, the calls started again. The front desk phone rang over and over. Sometimes when I answered, there was silence. Other times, I could hear breathing. Once, I thought I heard someone whisper my name. But when I checked the log, every call came from the same place. Room 307. I checked the key logs. The door hadn't been opened since check-in. Not once. Later, the hallway camera glitched, just for a second. When the image came back, the door to room 307 was open. The room inside was dark. I watched the feed, waiting for someone to step out. No one did. Then I noticed something else. The elevator came down by itself again. When the doors opened, there was still no one inside, but there was a single wet footprint on the floor in front of it. Only one. It didn't lead anywhere. The guest below 307 called again, this time crying. She said the pacing had stopped, but now it felt worse. She said it felt like someone was standing still, listening. I locked myself in the back office. That's when I started hearing footsteps in the lobby, right behind the desk. Slow, measured. I checked the cameras. The lobby was empty. The sound continued anyway. The phone rang again. I didn't answer. It rang until it stopped. Then it rang again. I finally checked the call log. Every call. Room 307. There was a knock on the glass of the office window. I looked up. The man stood on the other side of the glass. Same clothes, same face. He smiled at me. But the camera feed behind him showed the lobby completely empty. No one was there. He raised his hand and knocked again. Then he mouthed something. I checked out. I didn't move. He tilted his head, still smiling, and stepped backward, straight through the wall. When police arrived and searched room 307, it was empty. No bags, no personal items, no signs anyone had slept there. But the carpet was worn down in a narrow path, from the door to the window and back, like someone had been pacing for a very long time. I quit not long after. The hotel changed owners. They renovated, renumbered the rooms. But when I pass it at night, I still look up at the top floor, end of the hallway. There's always one room with the light on, even when the rest of the building is dark. And I know better now than to assume it's empty.